Good morning, traders. It is 5:39 on May 5th, 2016, Cinco de Mayo. So yesterday, in the middle of the day, I posted something where I said it's hard to be long or short. It's hard to initiate longs or shorts here. And as you can see, we printed a doji here right in this kind of price churn area, this kind of support zone. So I wouldn't be surprised by a bounce here. One of the things that can happen with these, when you get a down move, you get a lot of volatility coming to the market, and that can lead to big moves that can kind of shake you a little bit. So if you have a big move up, that can shake you out of shorts. If you have a big move down, that can, if you're holding long, that can just kind of beat you down into making an emotional decision, whether that's buying or selling. So you need to be careful when initiating shorts kind of down in this area. I would expect a pop here. We may get it, so that wouldn't be surprising. Overall, I'm still bearish, but you can see how I could definitely see us going back up to this 208 area. So if you look at gold, it had some consolidation yesterday, and so kind of filled this quote-unquote gap. It's gold, so it's going to trade a lot after hours, so you're going to get a lot of gaps. So I wouldn't necessarily play gaps in gold, but it did come back down into this area. And so we do want to see higher prices from here in the near term. It hasn't spent a whole lot of time above this kind of consolidation zone, and so you do want to see it forge ahead. If not, it could easily fall back down into the consolidation area, which would make sense with the dollar recovering from the beating that it's taken. So we do want to see higher prices in gold. In oil, we've seen a constant, steady little uptick here from the lows, and it looks like it could continue here this morning. Just looking at futures for a second. Yeah, so if we look at it, though, you know, it looks kind of corrective to me. I don't have any trades in it or in any of its any correlated stocks, I don't think, to oil, but this kind of looks corrective. So I would look for it to hit the 200-day moving average, and then we'll see what happens. So going over some trades that we talked about. So Monsanto did indeed break down. I said yesterday that it could go either way, but that I was kind of took it because I was confident in my market direction. Well, that ended up working out for me. At least it appears in the short term here. So broke down below the 200-day moving average, so it's looking pretty good. Goldman Sachs continuing its downtrend. SNA kind of had it broke down a little bit further, hit the 50-day, and had a little rally. It's still below the 200-day. It's got resistance there, so we'll see how that performs. So there's a lot of trades that were triggered in short trades. Still no long trades. So if we look at some of these, there's a lot, so we want to make sure I don't run out of time. VRTX. So I would be cautious initiating. If we get a pop, you might be able to short that, though. So VRTX has this kind of consolidation area, had earnings the 27th, which was this kind of up candle. So if you look at that, it's kind of at the bottom of the channel or the range. So you'd want to kind of wait and short it kind of back up into these at a little bit of a higher level, which you may get today. So if it comes back to, let's say, to 86.75, you could kind of hit it, but down here I wouldn't necessarily. Let's see, ETFC, so E-Trade, that looks similar to the credit services where you kind of have sloping down 200-day moving average, and then you see this kind of wave come up. It actually touched the 200-day and is selling off. It is in this kind of area, but at a rally I think you could initiate a short on this one. These are all either May 20th or May 27th options that we're looking at. So Blackhawk Network Holdings, another credit service. So this one's kind of at the bottom. You could look at this as a runner, so where it's just it had a breakdown gap and then it's just going to run down. You could look at it that way. Generally I don't like necessarily to take these kinds of trades, so I would be interested in this one. I'd be more interested in seeing it fill the gap if I was a little bit more bullish. But so this is one that I probably wouldn't take. So this is a PLC. So right off the bat, I'm not sure I would want to take a PLC. It's going to be affected a lot by the dollar. It's a lot of gaps, so I usually don't trade that. And let's see, RH, Restoration Hardware Holdings. So this is one that I tried to get in. I had a trade idea for it a little while ago. I think it was this bar here where it kind of closed at 45. I should have taken that trade. Unfortunately, I didn't. Obviously, kind of trickled down from there. So I wouldn't necessarily take it here unless you get an uptick back. You'd want to see it hit this area. So if it got back up to 43.50, I think you could short it. And GHL, investment brokerage. It looks pretty bad, and it looks like it's just doing its thing. So you might want to do an out of the money, sell calls out of the money, and just watch them expire worthless. This isn't necessarily something that I would be interested in a whole lot. I'd have to see the action today. And HBI, Haynes Brands, let's see here. So obviously the 200-day is acting as resistance here. It just sold off of it. However, it's hit it quite a bit. It's kind of come up into this area quite a bit. So I'm not sure how much longer the 200-day would act as resistance. Kind of got this funky candle here. That's earnings. So I actually it filled this gap here. So I would actually be looking to see it break the 200-day here. So this looks like a little bullish to me. Obviously with the market direction I don't feel bullish, but Haynes Brands doesn't look bad, so I wouldn't be taking this trade either. Speaking of trades, I talked a lot about some credit services here the other day. I did try to get into CIT. Unfortunately, a lot of these they open down, and so it's hard to chase. I just couldn't get a price that I wanted, which this is a lesson. You should always be going for the mid price with options of the bid-ask spread. Whatever the bid-ask spread is, especially if you're doing call spreads or put spreads, any kind of vertical spread or complex option, the bid and the ask could be very wide. Or if you're trading in liquid options, the bid-ask could be very wide, and so you always want to be striving for the mid price or a penny off or something like that. You want to be as close to the mid price as possible, and so you should never be, if you're hitting the bid or the ask, then a lot of times your edge is going to be taken out. The bid and the ask are the prices where the options market makers are saying, at this price, knowing what we know about volatility, we're going to make money.